This one's based off of Wi-Fi and public Wi-Fi. And the reason we felt that this one would be a good topic for us is because we know that most realtors are working their time, that they don't always go into the office. A lot of times they have a home office or they prefer to go to like a Starbucks to either meet clients or to work from there just to be able to not have to be at home. So this was a very interesting case, as you can see on the screen, that last year an attacker set up a fake Wi-Fi network on a flight and stole all the passengers' login information. So just imagine that, you're on the flight, maybe it's 3, 4, 5 hours, and you don't want to watch TV. You got to stay in contact. You want to be productive. So you decide that, hey, I'm going to connect to the Wi-Fi. You see a Wi-Fi, you think that's the correct one, and you log in. You start sending messages. You log into your email. Maybe you do some banking. You connect to your CRM, whatever softwares you have, and imagine a hacker being able to gather all those passwords and usernames and things. That is a reality, and most people don't understand that, and that's why we wanted to really share this powerful topic for all of us, because we are guilty of that. I'm guilty of this. Before I knew about this, I used to constantly be in free in public areas that were giving free Wi-Fi when I was on the road. And I think most of us all had to do this when we were paying for our cell phones and internet plans before they were unlimited, like most of them are now. That we were constantly looking where I can connect, so I don't have to use my internet that I'm paying for. And that habit has now continued to roll, but now we're in 2025, and you know the public Wi-Fi is really a danger zone. And it's scary because hackers can easily get access to all of your most delicate confidential information, and you don't even realize that. So that's what we're going to be going through this week, and we're going to share some different scenarios, some things that have happened, and how to properly protect yourself, and some of the reasons why you should. And then for all the people that stay towards the end, we have a special gift that we are giving to everyone. So to start up, please remember to watch week one. That way you can kind of get a little backstory on who we are and everything we do. We're Mostro Cybersecurity. We bring enterprise solutions. Our team helps the Florida Department of Transportation handle all their cybersecurity. So we have the top tools in the market, an elite team, and I'm the owner of the firm. I've been able to bring the investment down to make it easy for everyone to be able to take advantage of this, because it does no good to have the best protection, but you can't afford it, right? So that was something very important. And also myself, Dennis Patino. I said in the first week that I own a digital marketing agency. I was tired of seeing my clients getting taken advantage of, getting hacked, getting ransomed. People I helped grow their business get wiped out, and that's what helped me decide to jump headfirst into the cybersecurity game and come with the premium, the best tools in the market to properly be able to protect businesses. And when I say businesses, I call them like their babies, because I know that my business is like my baby and I want to be able to give it the best. So that's why we've created Mostro, which is monster in Spanish, which our goal is we created a digital monster to properly protect your business. All right. So let's start out. This illustration I think is hilarious, but it's one that helps us really you know, uh, illustrate what public Wi-Fi is. It's like we're all in a hot tub, but not with your family and friends. It's just with complete strangers, right? And the funny part is that somebody's definitely peeing in the hot tub, right? So that's what we're going to go through, all the different risk and attacks that are the most common and that we easily fall for. And our goal is to help educate us so we can, if we must use a public Wi-Fi, that we know how to use it and how to recognize and not fall for these easily tricks. So one of the things is a rogue hotspot. It's attackers create Wi-Fi networks that look legitimate, like the Starbucks Wi-Fi or Starbucks. You see the regular Starbucks Wi-Fi, and then there's the Starbucks Wi-Fi free, and we don't realize that that is a rogue, meaning that it's a hacker created this Wi-Fi network, and we're so busy that we see that and we think, oh, free, let's click on it, and without knowing, we are now on the attackers' uh, um, Wi-Fi. And that's, just scary thing about it. That's exactly what happened in the first case that we talked about in the um, airplane scenario. So this is something that's extremely common that you don't realize that's happening, and a hacker can easily get all your information just by you clicking in there. And what they're doing is, you're checking your things, your emails, your banks, whatever it is, sending messages to the title company, to the mortgage company, to the appraisal, anybody of that nature, and the hacker could be two tables over from you, and they're sniffing and gathering all your information and everything like that. So the hackers could be sitting right next door and taking your, stealing all your most valuable information. And this is extremely, obviously, scary, and you don't even realize that that's happening because the networks are unencrypted and that traffic can easily be taken. This one is really scary. It's called The Man in the Middle. It's like you pretending that you're talking to your bank, and your bank thinks it's talking to you, but the hackers in the middle, and they've intercepted the internet, and they're altering the traffic. So they now can decide to send, different information to the bank and vice versa. And this is extremely, extremely common that hackers do. You think you're all talking to the banks, but reality, you're talking to Steve in the corner, and he's gathering all of your authentication sessions, all your cookies, all of your most valuable information. And this is, these are just very, very common, and most people don't realize it. There's actually a case where one hacker in one day was able to steal over 4,000 usernames and passwords at one location. 4,000. So if you can realize that, that's extremely, that's scary. Just one person, and now with AI and automations, these tools help the hackers, tremendously. So it's very, very important that to not fall for these things and not easily use, public Wi-Fi. It's actually better to use your own hotspot from your cell phone versus, using a public Wi-Fi. And this is really kind of like how the whole scenario works. You log in to the public Wi-Fi, the credential, the theft is easy for them to be able to get it. From there, they can compromise your emails. So imagine if they got access to your emails, they can change wiring instructions, they can change, almost anything they want, and then do whatever they want with it. In this case, that the wire fraud is the number one type of fraud that's in the real estate industry, and this is growing more and more and more, and it's really it's scary. So this is like the circle of everything that could happen. And it's not like you see in the movies where a hacker, gets in, and then all of a sudden, the red lights are going off, and the sirens are going off. No, you don't really know that they're actually in, because they're quiet and they're absorbing and gathering as much information as possible. They're gathering all your usernames, your passwords, all that stuff. So then when they finally decide, they can encrypt it, and that's when they can gather and ask for a large ransom. Um, if you Google what's the average ransom payment, it's in the millions of dollars. So this is something that's real, and why the hackers are targeting the real estate professionals, because they realize that they're easy targets. And that's one of the things that we talked about last week. So when you're thinking about these free Wi-Fi's, and you're thinking about, all these places to go work, I'm not saying you can't do it, but there's proper ways to do it. And that's one of the things that we're going to show towards the end of this presentation, is the different layers to properly protect your business. Because, you think that you're doing something good, but you're easily being taken advantage of. And what we've noticed is in the real estate industry, a lot of closings or deals are done at a Starbucks or a cafe. And I say Starbucks, why? Because hackers know that Starbucks, it's more like a higher level type of individual who's willing to pay $6, $10 for a coffee where you can get it for $1, right? So they're not going to like trying to hack up at a public library or the university because what am I going to get from a university student versus a professional that's at a Starbucks, right? Or to a high-end hotel in the lobby. So that's where, this makes perfect targets for these people because they know most of the people in there are road warriors that are on the road. They quickly have to send an email, have to send a quote, have to send a contract, a DocuSign, or something, and they're quickly trying to connect to that network, and they know that they can easily gather all these things. So, another crazy one is the open houses. And you think open houses? What do you mean? Anybody who walks in, they normally have to sign to who they are and sign in and everything like that. I think if I saw a hacker or somebody on their computer in there, I would be able to, realize it. But Wi-Fi, it goes a long distance. Well, not that long, but if you're outside of your house, you can normally still connect to the Wi-Fi. So imagine there's a busy open house and there's a car parked in the driveway or even on the street, and it's a hacker on there on their computer, and they're still able to have, access to the Wi-Fi. And if the Wi-Fi is shared and it doesn't have the proper protection, now they're gathering all that information from the realtor that's maybe updating their CRM or updating, making a contract or agreement or anything like that, and they're able to position themselves and get, and get in there. And that's the scary part is that the hackers don't necessarily have to hack you immediately. They can install a malware and then in the future get access to your computer and do damage in the future. So this is something that's very, very common that we're seeing, and it just, most people don't realize that risk. Some of we've talked to some people like, oh, well, I'm super protected, I'm super careful, I don't go to, Starbucks, I don't do this, I don't do that. That may be great, but most of in real estate industry, they have assistants. You guys have coordinators, you have a secretary. Sometimes they're full-time, many times they're part-time, spare time. Maybe it's the spouse of somebody, and they're quickly doing it off of their personal computer, and that makes it extremely vulnerable for phishing and public Wi-Fi's and all this stuff because people, when they're using their personal devices, they don't have really real enterprise protection or encryption because that's not something that the home version of Windows, people that are using home or student versions are thinking about that. And that's a big pitfall that we see that if you're going to be using a personal device, you should upgrade it to the pro version of Windows and then enable all the encryptions and all the enterprise level protection that comes along with that. So that is something that we're seeing that's happening. Another one, this is a very common and one of the last ones that we're going to go through. It's that mobile devices. I'm sure that when you used your phone and you connected to a Wi-Fi in the past, most people don't ever say once they leave, forget this network. That's just not something you do. You just leave and you go. Well, most people when they leave their home or their office on their cell phone, they don't turn off Wi-Fi, or on your laptop you don't turn off turn off Wi-Fi. You just maybe you just leave. Well, your devices, if they're still on, like your cell phone, is still transmitting and trying to find a Wi-Fi to connect to, right? It's always constantly going like that because you don't have it turned off. So let's say you were at a Starbucks before, you connected there, and then you left. Well, the next time you come back to it, maybe you don't connect to the Wi-Fi, you personally, but your device recognizes it and automatically connects to it. You understand what I'm saying? And then by automatically connecting without your knowledge, that is potentially a risk where a hacker could be at that moment hacking everybody in the Starbucks. You just walked in to get your latte, and then your device connected, and now the hacker recognizes it and says, "Oh, look at this new device! Boom! Let's gather whatever we can, or installing malware on it, and then that's it." And the scary part is if they install a malware, they can activate that anytime they want once you reconnect to internet. And this illustration really breaks it down. It's like free Wi-Fi, it's like taking free candy from a stranger. And is it really free? It could just be wrapped in malware. And most people, if you think about it, when you go somewhere and there may be the mints, they just grab some mints. You're like, oh, maybe I'll have one now, but some of these I'm gonna put in my backpack, I'm gonna put in my pocket or my purse or whatever. I'll eat some of these later. And that's how malware works. Is that if it gets installed on your computer, it could be dormant, hidden in there until the hacker decides to activate it. And once they activate it, it could be the next day, it could be months down the road when they decide to activate it. And if they now imagine you take that your device back to your office and you're connected in the environment and they activate the malware, now it's behind the walls that you have and they can easily get access. So this is, just real world scenarios that are happening every day to businesses, and our goal is to properly, teach you and educate you on how to recognize these things, and then how to, position yourself to be in a better position. you know our goal really is that, if you're a smart business person and you want your business to be smart, and it's the year 2025, that is your cybersecurity smart. And most people think that, oh, my McAfee, my Norton, or I have a Mac, and so my Mac is unhackable. And it's like, these are all myths that was maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, that maybe something like that. Now in 2025, hackers know how to easily get through all these things. Even firewalls, that's so easy for hackers to get past. So if you don't have really top-notch enterprise cybersecurity like the ones that we are implementing for our clients, then you're really a sitting duck and you're wasting a lot of money on tools that aren't going to protect you when you really need it. And that's something that's very, very important for us to help open the eyes. Or we've talked to a lot of people and they're like, my IT guy is the greatest. He's a genius. He's taking care of everything. But when we go and do the penetration test, and we come to find out, it's like, really, you guys are doing the bare minimum. And we've talked to IT people and they're like, well, they never wanted to invest more money into more advanced stuff. So we've just been making sure everything's worked. They've never been hacked in the past. And it's like, yeah, the past was the past. This is now the present and the future, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse. They're anticipating that this year alone, we should be hitting approximately $10 trillion in money paid out to hackers and breaches and ransomwares. $10 trillion. That's a lot of money in one year. So we take this very, very, very serious, and that's why we partnered up with the Suncoast Real Estate Association to properly educate all of us on how to defend ourselves, because there are real consequences to not doing this, right? Not only the financial loss like we spoke about in week one, where you can, potentially have wire fraud, and the buyer, wired all their money, their life savings, and then it got hacked, and then, that's horrible. But their reputational damage, that if it was a realtor whose email was compromised, not only are you going to get bad reviews and you're not going to get any future listings, but also a lot of the top vendors don't want to work with you. If I'm a title company and I know that this realtor had a huge breach or multiple breaches, do you think I'm going to want to jeopardize my clients, my business, working with a realtor who's not properly protecting themselves and is going to have access? We're going to have communication back and forth. It's like, no, I'd rather work with people who do. And that's what a lot of top companies are doing. And that's one of the mandates from the big, beautiful bill that was put out this year, is that they need to prove cybersecurity and compliance. insurance denial. If you're not able to, because a lot of people are thinking that I have cyber insurance and that's just going to protect me, so I don't really need to worry about cybersecurity. And it's like, no, if you don't read the fine print, you have a chance you're going to get denied. And also, there's even a claim where the insurance company is suing the the person that pulled out the insurance policy because they lied on their application, saying that they were doing MFA, that they had encryptions, that they had all this policies, that they had all this stuff. Well, once the claim came in, they did their forensics and realized that they didn't have anything that they put down on their application. Then they denied the claim, and this is Travelers Insurance is now suing the company that tried to take out the policy. So this is real cases that are going on right now. Obviously, all the regulatory fines from the FTC, by having that, and any downtime, because you think that if you get ransomed or there's any breaches, that stuff in the same day is taken care of. No, you can be locked out of your systems for months, and it's time all the time to get it back. Imagine if the news catches wind of this. So there's so many different pitfalls and a domino effects that can happen just by being hacked by it could easily come in through a public Wi-Fi. So this is very important. I like to kind of drill down on this because I need to open a lot of people's eyes. People think that, we're in the 2000s and just everybody now we all have smartphones, we all have computers right in our pockets. Everybody's using technology for everything. Well, with that technology comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of risk. And that's what we're here to, to educate. Vendor risk. This is something that I, doing a lot of research into this, the real estate industry, I realized that there's so many moving parts to a real estate deal, many variables, different vendors, right? Obviously, the title companies, you know, this was a case that we were like, what? Imagine if a title company, if the email, if their email is compromised, right? The title companies, but the realtor forwards that email without verifying with the title company, and the realtor forwards it to, to their buyer, and the buyer sends it. That realtor can still be blamed for enabling the fraud. And it's like, what? It's like I was just forwarding the information the title company gave me. You think about it, and that's still when the forensics comes out and the blame game starts. Everybody's going down. Mortgage brokers. Imagine sending, pre-approval letters with unencrypted channels and exposing financial data, and you're in the middle as a realtor. That's huge. Inspectors and appraisals. This is one that I was like, wow, that made sense. Because most inspector companies, unless they're like a huge nationwide company, a lot of them are, one-man operations, maybe two, a husband and wife doing and working, from their house or from a Starbucks, anything like that. Those smaller vendors, they rarely have any type of cybersecurity. They never think about these things. They're just trying to live paycheck to paycheck to get the next deal. Well, attackers can target them, use them, and then backdoor into your communications. And that's how scary this is. So it's not only that you need to start protecting yourself and understanding that, hey, I need to have like, a shield. We are at war right now. And I think I need to make that very, very clear. We are at war with the cyber criminals. They are wiping out businesses. 60% of businesses are being, are closing their doors after a cyber attack. 60. That's a huge percentage. So if we don't understand that we're at war, and if we don't prepare ourselves to go to war, are we going to win? Let's be realistic with that. If you don't prepare, it's like if you think you're going to get in shape and you go to the gym only once a year, do you think that's going to help you? Do you think that you're going to look great? Or you should be in the gym at least 3 to 4 or 5 times a week, working out, eating healthy because you want to look good? Well, the same thing, if you're not preparing yourself for a war and you're just like this, you're easily going to get wiped out. Many people, all of us, are using DocuSign, Dropbox, Google Drive, and you're sharing links and files and saying, here, Mr. Business, Mr. Person, upload your stuff here, do this, all that stuff. And if there's no proper protection on it, that could easily spread malware and harvest logins. And that's something that's so common that people say, "Hey, upload all your documents to here, your tax returns, whatever," and you guys are just sharing that stuff back and forth, and that's huge. Um, One of the last things is this, the insurance and legal, because if a vendor's hacked, this is what's crazy. Realtors could be pulled into the lawsuit for not having vendor oversight. You understand that? You are responsible not only for yourself, but for the people you do business with. And that's why we are doing this to share all this information. You guys can Google this, ChatGPT, all this information up so you can verify that this is what the law state that you need to do. And um, so you have to start, being very, very careful who you're doing business with, who you're associated with. And, that's why we put a referral program in place to help us by, helping all of you share with your, vendors, have them talk to us, and we can make sure that every player on the team has the right equipment to properly protect themselves so the team can win. All right. There's no I in team. So and especially in real estate, it's very, very different when, if you're if since you guys all these vendors all rely on each other to get one deal done. And so think about how many different vulnerabilities can happen between all the vendors we're looking at right here and see. And if somebody dropped the ball, it's going to affect everybody. And then if that goes into court, it's going to be a scary day in court. So let me quickly illustrate this. So we're going to go through this much deeper in the next sessions, but because some people don't understand, and because this is new, cybersecurity is new, don't understand how it works. They think that, hey, I just pay for one little software, it's a couple bucks, and it's automatically protecting me, and there's nothing I got to do. That couldn't be further from the truth. So this illustration right here with all the rings that go around everything, your assets could be your client files, the tax returns, your CRMs, your softwares, your baby pictures, whatever it is. Those are your assets in the middle. You want to properly protect it and make it extremely hard or a hacker, can't get in. And if they get in, that you're able to quarantine them and get them out as soon as possible before they get access to assets. And that's where each one of these rings has a number next to it from 1 to 6. 6 is the outer layer, right? That's number 6 is human, us. We are the weakest link in cybersecurity. Why? Because we are doing all the stuff we're talking about. We are, going up to Starbucks to use the Wi-Fi. We're not using encrypted devices. We're not checking our vendors. We are, emailing unencrypted stuff. We're doing all the stuff. When an email comes in, we're clicking on it and trying to, and 90% of the hacks all come in through an email. So if you don't know how to recognize that it's a fake email, you don't have that training in place, you're easily, you know, setting yourself to lose. So the first ring that we do is that we properly have the training that for you to learn how to recognize a false and a fake email, especially with AI now. It's out of control. So this isn't a training that you do once a year and you just checkbox saying I did my phishing training, security awareness training. No, similar to the scenario I was talking about, going to the gym, you were at war, so you should be doing this on a minimum of every month. Do a training and understand and be up to date because this is your baby, this is your business. You want to protect, and we're at war, right? So that's the outer ring. The number 5, that is now the internet, the actual internet itself. Um, you know, Very few companies have the ability to be able to scan the internet before it's your computer. So that is next level protection. We use what the same tools that the Department of Defense for the government uses. What over 40% of the Fortune 500 companies use this one software that we have access to. Very few IT companies or cybersecurity companies have access to that tool because it's extremely expensive to be able to get access to it. We, through my connections, we have it and we made it extremely affordable to be able to give you the same protection the Fortune 500 companies use. General Electric uses this, right? So what that does is scans the internet and just leave it at that. The next thing, number four, is your network. It's your Wi-Fi. It's your bubble. It's when I go to my office or my home office and I'm connected to my internet, that's my bubble. That's my network, right? So that's a different layer, a different type of protection, a different type of strategy that you need to have to protect your network. After that, it's your endpoint. What's an endpoint? Your cell phone, your computer, your laptop, your tablet. Those are the endpoints. So it's a different type of protection that you need to have on your endpoint. So we use the top, best in breed endpoint protection. After that, what are you doing once you have your computer? You go on to applications. Applications are like softwares. Your software for your clients, your CRM, your banking, all those different applications are all softwares that you have access to. Well, you need to have protection and multi-factor authentication and all this stuff to be able to move in and out of these different softwares and make sure it's protected. Because I've run into people, they're like, I use what is it? I use DocuSign, and I don't need to worry about cybersecurity because DocuSign, it takes care of me. And it's like, no, DocuSign is taking care of themselves. They're taking care of their software to make sure that their software is not easily hackable. But you're a different story. You're just user. You're just a user. So if you get hacked and they're able to get in there and modify documents or whatever the case is, or your bank, that's your protection, and then they have theirs. So that's another vendor type of a scenario. So we got to make sure that all your applications are protected. And the last one, which is the first one, is your data and making sure that you have secure backups in multiple locations and with a real company. What we use is the cloud, or if you want to still have it on premise, you can have it on premise, but you have multiple backups, and more importantly, that they're tested. We've run into people that all said, "Oh, I have a backup," but they never even tested it. They got hacked when they thought they're going to go back to get their backups. The backups didn't even work. So what good is having something where you didn't even test it? So these are the proper layers of security, and that we help you, and we have the best in breed for each of these. So I know that was a lot, but I want to finish this off because um, with our special offer, this is something extremely important. It's what's called a penetration test, guys. What is a penetration test? So like I told you that 90% of hacks all come in through an email. An email came in, you didn't recognize it, you clicked it, the hackers got into your system. Well, what a penetration test does, it shows you what could the hacker get access to. It uncovers all of your weak spots, your vulnerabilities. It's kind of like in the real estate terms, like the inspection. If I'm gonna buy this property, I want to do an inspection. I want to see if the roof is good, if the water heater is good, if the door is closed, the garage. Like I want to find it to see if there's a lot of weak spots or vulnerabilities in this. And then I look at the whole report and I analyze, wow, is this worth even investing into? Or these are things that I could easily fix and correct and still, worth buying this property. Well, that's similar to the penetration test because when we do it, we're able to show you all that, and then we can start fixing all the issues. And it's better for us to fix it before a hacker finds it and exposes it. So these tests easily, you can Google them, $4,000 to $5,000 minimum and up to 50 grand, depending on how large your company and business is. We are offering this complimentary for free. Why? Because this is our way to be able to show you and properly protect your business and our community. If you remember from week one, what I said, my goal is to protect my community. I'm here from Florida. My friends are realtors and people in this industry and everything like that. And if they get wiped out, we're all going to feel it. If one of my good friends, is loses their business, or you're going to want to try to help. And if multiple happens, there's only so much money that I have to go around to help everybody, and that's sad. And if the imagine it's your good friends that they just didn't know, and they get wiped out, and they get the what is it, the carpet pulled out from under the rug, pulled out from underneath them, and then they're wiped out, and they have kids, families, whatever. So that's why it's very important for you to have this test, and we're offering it complimentary. And since we know that, that's where the part down here says 25% discount, that's for something else, because we realize that people, after they see this test, they realize that they have a lot of vulnerabilities that they want to do business with us. Well, we want to do business with you too. We know that smart businesses require a smarter defense. And if you want to start working with us after we do the penetration test, and we're able to show you that one of the things I really love about the penetration test, and we always lead with it, and also we sign an NDA. I forgot to say that. We sign a non-disclosure agreement, because the information that we're going to be able to have to show you is extremely, extremely delicate and confidential. And we want you to rest assured that you're working with somebody professional that's going to take that on. And so we sign an NDA before we do anything, right? Then after we show you, we love doing these penetration tests because it gives us a starting point where 3 months later, we like to do another penetration test so we can show you, look, here's where you were when you started. 3 months later, here's where you are. And look at all the improvements that we did. And now you're in a much better, safer position. And that's what we've realized, that many companies are relying on their IT companies, and they've never tested that their IT companies are doing what they said they're supposed to be doing. No one can ever check your own homework. You can't see in your own blind spots. So we constantly do this every 3 months, a new penetration test. And this is a penetration test I forgot to explain. It's from a third party. It's not Mostro doing it for you. It's a third party called Galactic Advisors. They're one of the top dogs in the industry who's done thousands of penetration tests nationwide. And they're the ones that do the penetration test for us, and that are constantly doing every 3 months. So that way we have another set of eyes and ears overlooking everything and making sure that we are doing everything right, and that we can show that and be transparent with our clients. So again, this is what we put together. This is the end for right now. I encourage you to go to our website that we made. It's mostrocybersecurity.com/suncoast. On there, you will be able to see much more information of everything we're talking about the penetration test, about how to set up an appointment to talk with us, and how to, properly protect yourself and not be an easy target. So again, Dennis Patino, I'm very excited to be able to do this. This is something that they dropped on my lap just a couple weeks ago, asking me, "Hey, can I start doing this?" And for all of us, and I was like, "Sure." So, just be patient with me. This is a first time this presentation I'm doing for realtors like this, but we are, rest assured that we have the best in breed. Our team is elite, and we're here to properly protect you and make this extremely affordable for you to be able to have this type of protection. And one of the good things too, and I'll end with this, is that for the companies that are investing in this and having a proper compliance program and cybersecurity, if you use that in your marketing, you're going to get more deals. You think about, well, what do you mean? Because if I was buying a house, right, and I had two realtors to choose from. And one of them saying, "Oh, I could do this. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest," and whatever, whatever. And the other one says something similar, but this one says, "Also, we have enterprise level security, cybersecurity that's going to protect all your data. My whole team, my title, like everyone on my team, we all are investing in enterprise level security. So you can rest assured that if any of the information you're sharing with us, it's going to be properly protected and handled." And then the other realtor, he maybe even charge me a less percentage commission. You think I'm going to risk my stuff to go with somebody who's going to give me something less? Remember, the cheap always comes out more expensive, right? I'd rather go with the company that's sharing and showing me that they are doing everything right and they're investing in this. That's going to give me that peace of mind to say, yeah, I'd rather work with this company. So the smart businesses are using this to their advantage and working together with us to properly market this and grow their business. So I look forward to talking to everyone, to meeting with everybody. The links on the website, you can get onto our calendars and be able to meet with me. And again, this is Dennis Patino from Mostro Cybersecurity. We're here to work with you and protect you. Thanks.